Hi, everyone. Welcome to Medi-Veggie. We're
Hi,
back.
welcome.
My goodness, it's Wednesday already, and we're hoping you're having a great week. So how is everyone doing? Before we start at 12:15 officially, when Medi-Veggie begins, we like to check in with our friends and audience. How are you doing, Esther?
I'm doing better. Let's see. I've learned something about myself a couple days ago in therapy that is exciting and helpful, I think, to me moving forward. And tonight, I'm going to have a past lives regression session with Smita. So I've been really excited for that for like the past week.
Yay!
Yeah.
I'm
Wow.
excited too for our session together. Yeah.
It's gonna be life-changing. I can't wait to
I'm so open right now to like any and all insight and wisdom and advice and experiences. And so, yeah, that's me right now.
Wonderful. And how are you doing, Mina?
Awesome. I just got my second vaccination, and my learning this week is that opportunities are limitless for living a full and vibrant life. So I am in a really good space.
And how about you, Emma? You're joining us today.
Yeah, I'm great.
Oop, your sound just bleeped out for a second there.
Am I back?
Yes, you're
Yeah,
back.
you're back.
Oh, I just got into grad school and I had two really good interviews for a job that would give me free housing for grad school, and I got the application for a scholarship. So I'm like, things are very close. They're coming together.
That's
Oh my
amazing.
gosh, yes.
Congrats. Yeah, good
Beautiful.
luck with all the other stuff to support your journey. Yeah. And Marcos, Justin, how are you both doing?
Oh, my video don't work.
There you go. There you are. We see you now. Yes.
Yeah, I'm sorry 2 week I don't meet all of you. Okay, I'm sick.
Yes,
So
we miss
now I'll be
you.
back. Thank
Today is a
everybody.
perfect day for you to join us because we will talk about April 30th, the fall of Saigon. So
Yeah.
you can, instill some wisdom there. So thanks for joining us. How about you, Marcos? Tell us about, you look like you're out in nature again, and it's a nice day today.
Yes, it's nice out here. I'm just trying to stay busy with my time and enjoying the spring. Very nice.
And how about you, Smita? Last but not least, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. It's interesting. I'm sleeping a lot. But I think it's because there's a lot going on in my motherland. And I think I said this before that at this point, I do not know anybody in India who hasn't lost somebody to COVID.
Wow.
And there's a double mutant version of COVID spreading there. It spreads really fast. You get it even though you may have been vaccinated. And so I know of many cases where people got it despite being vaccinated. And it's just not as lethal. If you're vaccinated, the vaccine definitely protects you. So you don't end up in an ICU. But yeah, it's horrific there. So I think I've been emotionally, mentally invested, spiritually invested there. Yeah.
Sure. And I hope that in the US that we're paying attention to what's happening all over the world to kind of, gauge what's going on here, what will happen here if we're not careful. And I see that your friend Maria Coltram has joined us. Welcome, Maria.
Hi, Maria.
We're just checking in with everyone, asking how everyone's doing.
I'm fine. I'm fine. How are you all?
Good. Thanks for joining us today. And I think with that, we're going to begin Medi-Veggie.
Yeah. So, welcome everyone to Medi-Veggie, where we encourage health from the mind to the body to the soul. During our Medi-Veggie show, you'll always be getting a vegetarian recipe or tips, as well as a short 15-minute guided meditation. We're here every Wednesday at 12:15, and you can join us on the Zoom call by registering through Eventbrite for the link, or you can watch our stream through Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and LinkedIn. And we're going to actually quickly jump into Trami sharing about the significance of April 30th, the fall of Saigon, because we have a special program to share with you at the end of our show. So Trami, why don't you go ahead with that?
Okay, thank you. So April 30th, which is not today, but it's in a few days, is marked for the Vietnamese community as the fall of Saigon. Now, it's a very interesting day because it depends on what part of the world you're living in and your attitude about it, if it's a happy day or really sad day, right? So I'll read a little bit of history so you can kind of understand it. And then later on at the end of the show, we're going to share with you some Vietnamese diaspora stories. So April 30th is in Vietnam. It's called Reunification Day, where they consider it a victory day, where the North Vietnamese Communist Army captured Saigon, which is now known as Ho Chi Minh City. And that happened April 30th, 1975. And in the US, it signaled the end of the Vietnam War. Now, for the overseas Vietnamese community, the community that we are most interested in and the ones that we serve, April 30th is a day remembered as the fall of Saigon or Black April. It's also called a National Day of Shame, a National Day of Hate. It is a commemorative day for exiled Vietnamese who served, who are affected, displaced in those overseas communities. And as such, it is really a day of reflection. And that's the aspect that we will take. And also for many Americans of multiple ethnicities, they observe the day as a remembrance for solidarity because they all fought in the war and had people who were affected by the war. So to honor our Vietnamese Americans who live in the US at Chopstick Sally, we would like to focus on the everyday people. So later on, we'll be sharing stories about the people who endured it all, especially women who have been silent for so many reasons. So when you think of mothers, grandmothers, sisters, wives, the ones who, despite it all, made a life for their family here in the US without speaking a lick of English. So we'll share that later on. So it's sort of like enticing you. We also have the honor of having poet Uncle Chu Jin Wing, who's here today. And he served in the Air Force. And so I'm sure that he will be sharing a little bit with us later on as well. Right, Chu?
Yeah. Thank you for talking about Air Force. I'm Air Force. Yeah. I relate to Vietnam War from 1965 until 1975. I get shot in my neck right now. So when I stand in the highlands, that means Banwithot is the highland, very highland there, and very thick jungle. So have a lot of communities live in the jungle. And 1975 is the first one for me because everything is mixed up. They send the rocket to my bay like a storm, and everything broke. And after that, too many people died. Under my hand, I have 5 people die already. I saw them there. Then after that, my bed broke. I ran away from Mamito to the Saigon. About I think about 200 or 400 miles by my feet. So after that, I ran away from Saigon to the United States by the boat. It's a boat very dangerous.
You can tell us more later on, Uncle. We really appreciate you being here and honoring us with your presence today. So I think we're going to begin our second segment of the vegetarian portion. So I'm going to have Esther introduce Mina.
Yeah, so Mina, our lovely, amazing chef, has prepared a delicious vegan, gluten-free empanada recipe. So I'm going to pull this up for you all to see, and Mina can share a bit about that.
You're on mute, Mina.
Oops. Okay. So I had a catering event this weekend and I had some vegan gluten-free people. So I decided to do empanadas. These are really flexible. I'm going to show you some things you need for this. You need gluten-free flour. You need vegan. So I like Bob's Red Mill a lot. An egg replacer is really important when you're doing gluten-free. And I do like this vegan butter, Mikos, I think it's called. And potato flour adds a little flakiness. So basically what you do is you take your butter and your flour, and you don't want to work this too much, your salt, and you mix it up in a whatever that's called, food processor. Then you take your egg replacement with some water and your vinegar, and look at how it is starting to bubble up a little bit. Then you want to work it with a fork, and as you work it with a fork, it'll sort of start coming into like little peas. You know, it's not going to look like flour. It's going to take a little bit longer to kind of work it together, but you kind of want to gently work it together, adding water as needed to just enough to make it into a ball. Once you sort of get it into a ball, you want to put it into the fridge on some cling wrap. I'm trying to find a environmentally better solution than cling wrap, but that's how you do it. Make a little ball, cover it up, put it in the fridge for about 30 minutes. I actually had mine in for a couple of hours because then I made the filling. So in the filling, I used Impossible Burger. We've done that before. That's gluten-free. And you can add anything. I added mushrooms and I added kale. Then you've got your onions and your tomato paste. The spice mix is red bell pepper, smoked paprika, oregano, cayenne pepper, vegetable broth, 1 tablespoon of sugar. And you can even add in olives if you like. You cook that over the stove, and then you fill up your little empanadas. Use a little pie thing because it's a little bit easier to make them. These were a little messy. Again, it's not the same as using regular flour, but nonetheless, you put an egg wash on them or the egg replacer wash or some oil. You bake them at 425 for 20 minutes. And voila, I served it with a beet feta and I even found vegan feta, by the way. Yeah, it was really, people loved it. It was really good.
That looks amazing. I want to try it now. I love empanadas, by the way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's really good with chimichurri sauce. It's, I'm a ketchup lover, right? So I eat everything with ketchup. But yeah, I'm glad I hope you try all of these recipes. This doesn't have to be gluten-free. You can use regular flour if you like. You can use a regular egg if you like. It will form just a little bit easier with that, but try it. And if you do, I would love it if you would just contact me through my my Instagram at Curious Helping. I guess it would be at Curious Helping, and let me know, send me a picture, let me know that you did it, because I would love to see that.
That's good. Esther, if you could make a note of that and post it in the chat, Mina's Instagram, that would be good.
Already done.
Yeah.
Curious Helping.
Thank you, Esther. See,
I'm
we're like
growing, I'm growing my Instagram, and I'm excited to share. This show has been such a wonderful venue to share recipes, and I hope that people are enjoying them. And if they're not, or they want something different, I want to hear about it, right? So
I find too that in every culture, we have our own version of empanadas, but we call them different things, right? So in India, what would they be called?
Right?
Yeah, in India, there's samosas, but there's also gujia, which is a sweet version. And gujia is fried, although I think you could bake them, but the shape looks just like an empanada. And we have those, what are those called? In which molds? You have molds that you put in and then you just close. Yeah.
Yeah. And in Vietnamese, we have bánh pâté chaud. So it's pastry. It's right, and then we put pork inside, and it's so good. It's like one of my favorite things. So good.
Okay. Esther, what do they have in the Chinese community? I'm curious.
I don't know. I mean, there's like pot stickers and dumplings of all types.
Yeah.
One time. I mean, if we're thinking of skin and like filling, there's so many different things.
Yeah, and
Siumai.
dim sums. Dim sums has
Yeah.
has a lot of all these different fillings, and you know the ones filled with durian are like, oh my god, my favorite. So ring durian's like, have you guys tried Smita and Mina? Okay, we have to have a durian get together. You'll have masks on, so you can't smell anything.
Yeah, can't wait.
I'm okay because I'm from a country where, you know, we have all kinds of tropical fruit and all kinds of smells. So
Oh my gosh, food is like about smelling it and seeing it. I mean, sometimes I'm just, when, especially with the weight loss, because, I'm a health coach and I feel like half the time, if I can see it and smell it, I'm already sort of half full.
Mina, that doesn't work for me. I have to be honest. I
know we're all nodding, and inside we're like, no, I actually kind of want to eat it.
I want to eat it. Yep.
Well, next week, guys, I'm thinking about doing another kind of pastry, an avocado pastry. So I'm looking forward to sharing that. Either that or we'll do a vegan, what are they called?
Banh mi?
No, vegan charcuterie boards. So you know what? We should do a poll, Esther. We should do a poll asking people, do they want the avocado pastry or do they want the vegan charcuterie boards?
I want both.
Yeah,
I want everything.
Why do we have to choose?
I want to bake my cake and eat it too.
That's a good one.
Do one each time. Why do we have to choose? So we have Mimi Hernandez, one of our very good friends. She says, these all sound delicious.
Oh.
Marcos, you're our Latino representative on Medi-Veggie. Tell us about your empanadas. What do you guys put in there?
Well, we make them kind of sweet. Sometimes we put meat in them, or I've seen them with beans. And my cousins make them. They're like teenagers. They make them to sell them to make some money. So, but my nana used to make them when I was a kid, but that's the last time I've really seen them made in the family, in my immediate family. But she put like brown sugars and I don't know, she made them sweet, almost like apple pie.
Yeah, that's the kind I've had over here. I've also had with savory ones with potatoes, kind of like samosas,
Oh my gosh, sugar and flour goes so well, and butter. Oh my gosh, my mom used to make homemade rotis, and she'd put on ghee and then a little bit of sugar, and then we'd roll it up. And I'm like, Mom, that's what caused all this diabetes. But oh my God, I love that.
Health coach.
Oh, I know. That's how I ended up having, high blood sugars. It's because you're like molded as a child to eat all this stuff. Once in a while, it's okay if you're going to go for a walk after or something. But no, we don't want to live in the land of roti and sugar.
What about you, Marie? I see you nodding. I'm like, what do you like in your empanadas?
Well, in Brazil, we actually call them pastel. And I mean, there's all kinds. You can have ground beef in it, or some people make it sweet with guava paste and cheese. And chicken. One of my favorites is just simply cheese and onion. So, and I've taught my kids how to make it, so I don't have to make it anymore.
Has anyone been to England? Oh, by the way, Maria, are you a fellow Canadian?
No.
Oh, I thought you were.
I'm from
that
Brazil.
was Anne.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, has anybody been to England or had pasties in England? So those pasties, they're always like sausage rolls and like Smita said, like with potatoes, but it's all about the spices. So whether you're doing Argentinian empanadas, whether you're doing, the Vietnamese version or the Indian version, pretty much it seems like the inside can be varieties of meat and vegetables and cheeses and things like that, but the differences are in the spices.
And they can have coconut, like Gujia. It has coconut in it. It has raisins in it. It has nuts in it. Yeah. Oh my God. Just.
Let's go eat. I'm hungry.
Well, Mina, for next week, you already have a vote for the avocado.
Okay, we're going to do avocado pastry. Okay, sounds good.
Also, I just wanted to share Mimi Hernandez's comment as well. She says, I grew up on pineapple, guava, and sweet potato empanadas.
Sweet potato. I remember those. Yes.
That's a
Those are good.
perfect segment into Dr. Smita's meditation. We can all think about sweet potatoes. I hope you included that in the meditation.
I hope with this meditation we can clear our, because today I decided to focus on clearing up our chakras, and hopefully we can clear up our gut.
Okay, that would be good.
Yeah. So I just wanted to share that I think this is a good time to take just a moment of silence and send out some of your blessings and some good energy to people around the world who are really suffering due to COVID. India, Brazil are two countries which have been hit very hard. And Maria was there. I led a meditation this Monday. I called it Global Healing Meditation. And we have people join in from Belgium, from India, from Canada, Alaska. It was just wonderful. And so I have been guided to do this every Monday, only for half an hour. So just message me if you would like to join in, and we can grow our collective energy. Together, we can send these healing vibes to the world, and hopefully we can see the end to COVID soon. Okay, so let's quickly take a moment of silence. Let's close our eyes and just send out loving thoughts, healing thoughts all over the world where COVID has hit hard. Just see the beautiful earth covered in golden light, healing light. And see this light flowing into all those parts of the world where the virus is impacting in a very deadly manner. Okay, and now let us begin the meditation. Today we will focus on clearing our chakras. And so keep your eyes closed, sit erect, and open your palms to receive. And let us take a deep breath in, hold, and let go. And now bring your focus to your root chakra, which is the first chakra. It is right at your tailbone, the bottom of your spine. And feel a beautiful energy flowing through this chakra. This chakra deals with issues that have to do with survival. financial issues, issues around money and food. And it comes with a mantra that may my foundation be stable. And feel this beautiful energy clearing this chakra and moving up to the next one, which is Swadhisthana, or your sacral chakra. And this chakra is about 2 inches below your navel. This chakra manages your abundance, your sense of abundance, well-being, pleasure, and sexuality. And so feel a beautiful energy clearing this chakra. Let's take a deep breath in and let go. And the mantra for this chakra is, I always honor myself. Always honor yourself first. And now feel this beautiful energy move up your solar plexus chakra, which is your upper abdomen, around the navel, and it's called the Manipura. And this chakra is all about self-worth, self-confidence, self-love. Take a deep breath in and let go. And the mantra for this chakra is, I accept myself fully and completely. I love myself. And now moving up to your heart chakra. And the heart chakra bridges the lower chakras with the upper chakras. And it influences our ability to give and receive love from others and ourselves. The location of this chakra is the center of the chest, just under the nape of your neck, and just above the heart. Take a deep breath in and release. The mantra for this chakra is, when I love myself, I have enough love to give to others. And now let's move to the next chakra, which is our throat chakra. The throat chakra controls our ability to communicate our truths, to express ourselves more fully. It is about communication, self-expression, and truth. And so take a deep breath in and let go. And the mantra is, I will always be true to myself, and I will always speak my truth. And now let us bring our focus to the Ajna chakra, or the third eye chakra. It is located between the eyebrows, right in the center of our eyebrows, just above the bridge of our nose. And this chakra connects us to our intuition. It is literally the eye to our soul. It is about intuition, imagination, and wisdom. Take a deep breath in and release. And the mantra for this chakra is, I am able to receive what is not visible to my eyes, what my mind cannot see. And now let us move to our seventh chakra, which is called Sahasrara, the crown chakra. And it is located at the very top of our head. This chakra is all about our spiritual connection to the universe, to each other, to the earth. Take a deep breath in and let go. And the mantra for this chakra is, I am a being of love and light, and I am empowered to change this world with my vibration of love. And now let's imagine a beautiful light falling on us, going through all our chakras from the crown, flowing down, all the way down to our feet, and feel this beautiful light coming from the universe above, flowing into the earth, grounding us, connecting us to both the universe and the earth. Feel this beautiful light fill up your entire being. and bring you to a balance, to a deeper healing. And you can move around, doing your chores today, feeling that balance, that groundedness. And now your chakras are cleared. And now you are connected to everybody without getting affected too much by the pain and sadness around you. Namaste.
Thank you so much for sharing.
You're welcome. Yeah, this was a totally different kind of meditation than what I've done before. So,
That's lovely.
I just, I felt so much gratitude. Just thank you. I felt so much gratitude today. This week is the anniversary of my late husband's death. And I felt so much gratitude for having a new family, you know, having a family that, having a new husband and their family that has just embraced my daughter and I. And on Monday, I'll be on the boat, which is something that my late husband brought to me. And I now own this boat with my family. And I just felt such gratitude. Thank you. Yeah, it was just a real clearing.
you're welcome.
Thank you for sharing your very vulnerable thoughts.
How is everybody else doing?
That's really powerful.
I would love to have the mantra for each chakra. If you could send that to us, I think we can put it on our website. It would be a very neat thing to have, because I appreciate that. I've never done it that way before, like meditate
Yeah.
with that. I think it's really good to stay
You know,
focused.
today's meditation I haven't written. I was just going.
Wow.
So I'm going to go back and write down the mantras and hope that they will come out. But
Well,
we have them recorded.
so
Yes. Yeah.
Smita, when you do that, can you also add the sounds that go with the chakras, the sounds, the vocals, you know? Oh,
Oh, I will have to look into that. I know the colors for chakras, but I'm not very familiar with the sounds because the way I do it, I just say Om. But I don't use Om here because I know we have people from different cultures who join us, and many of them think that Om connects to Hinduism, right?
of the 7, the last one is Om, but the first 7 are not Om at all. And they go with the hand chakras, the various ones, and they're very powerful together. The hand,
the mudras
with the sound,
Mhm.
the reverberation of that sound actually was extremely powerful for me in the past. And so I forgot them actually. I've forgotten which goes with which one. But.
We'll go offline, Mina, and let's talk about this, and I can definitely include that. Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, ladies. I think we've come to the portion where we're going to talk more about the April 30th. And so what I want to play for you today is a podcast that Chopsticks I produced in early 2020, where it was a part of an exhibit at the San Jose Museum of Art called Up-O. Up-O in Vietnamese means it's like a dream, something that you carry and cherish as if imagine like birds that, sit on their babies or their eggs to protect and shield. And so these are stories that Vietnamese elders have written. And along with the stories, they also created art. And the stories are embedded within the art. So it's a very interesting thing that I want you to visually see as well as hear. So if you could bear with me here as I share all the screens and whatnot. And in the beginning, I will show you the class, the actual class, so you can see the faces of these elders. And then when they start to read their stories, then you're going to hear and see their artwork. Okay. So here we go. Out of the huts of history's shame, I rise. Up from a past that's rooted in pain, I rise. I'm a black ocean, leaping and wide, welling and swelling, I bear in the tide. Leaving behind nights of terror and fear, I rise. Into a daybreak that's wondrously clear, I rise. Bringing the gifts that my ancestors gave, I am the dream and the hope of the slave. I rise, I rise, I rise. Welcome to Chopsticks Alley Podcast, Episode 12. I am your host, Trami Nguyen Crone. You just heard an excerpt by Maya Angelou's poem, Still I Rise. In this episode, you will be hearing 10 translated stories written by Vietnamese elders from San Jose, California, as part of an exhibit at the San Jose Museum of Art titled Up O, Identity, Journey, and Legacy. This is part 1 of 3 series of these stories. Up O is an exhibit rooted in stories of place, family, journey, identity, and ultimately, home. The multi-layered works on view as part of this special exhibition were created by elders from San Jose's large and vibrant Vietnamese community. The exhibit will be open from February 20 until February 23rd in 2020 at the Wendell Center at San Jose Museum of Art. The workshop was led by artists Jin Mai, Bin Dan, and Cynthia Cao at the Vietnamese American Cultural Center in December of 2019. Elders participated in Chopsticks Alley Art's Adventure in Contemporary Art program, handwrote their memories, then painted images of native flowers and birds to layer on top of them. The workshop was the first in a series of 3 that are being conducted as part of Hidden Heritage's San Jose Vietnamese Legacy. It's a 2-year partnership between the San Jose Museum of Art and Chopsticks Alley. The program brings Vietnamese artists and community members together to amplify and artistically present stories that shares the life and experiences of Vietnamese Americans in San Jose. Let's listen to their stories. I grew up in Saigon, District 3. When I was young, my father took me to Tinh Thang High School. My father took me there every morning to study. It was a school that belonged to the military. I enjoyed it most when my father drove my siblings and me to the zoo and took pictures of us. Every time it was Tet, my parents took us to Bun Tan Market and Tax Department Store to buy new clothes and shoes. After 1975, my family went to live in Vuong Chuy in District 3. In 1996, my paternal grandmother died. In 1997, my father died in Saigon. My mother died in 2019 in the state of Indiana. I arrived in America in 2018. I now live in San Jose. When I came here, everything seemed so strange to me. America has given me a peaceful life. I am still sad because I can no longer live with my family, parents, and grandparents. My daily life is connected to my childhood memories of living in Tu Sung in District 3 because there, every morning I still attend church, my parents still take me to the zoo, and to see the dead flower market on Nguyen Hue Street. Lang Vu. Before 1975, I was the wife of a South Vietnamese army officer. It was a glorious time I will never forget. After 1975, my family was separated from my husband, who was imprisoned for 13 years. My children and I drifted from day to day, village to finally arrive in the west region of Vietnam, where I learned to be a farmer. I remember the first day I took the hoe to dig the soil. I passed out because I was not used to the sun and the rain. I ended up trading and selling goods instead and saved enough money to pay for the boat to flee the country. In 1979, I was in a refugee camp in Malaysia. Lin Le. I was born and raised in South Vietnam, living and growing up in Saigon, District 5, on Trường Hưng Đạo Street until April 30th, 1975. Our family entered a new phase, facing changes due to political ideology. My family was broken up. Some stayed behind, some escaped by boat. My husband and my brother went to prison. While sitting here writing down these words, my heart feels like it will explode, and I don't think I want to write about it anymore. Until the day we settled in the United States through the Humanitarian Operation Program, we finally understood what freedom and happiness mean. Loan Nguyen.
Remembering the small house on the canal in District 4 in Saigon. Houses were connected to each other by small wooden bridges. Remembering afternoons wandering the sidewalks of Saigon lined with rows of old bookstores. 1975. Leaving the ship to return home, then on to communist prison. 1980. Released from prison. 1994. Arrived in the U.S., lived on 13th Street in San Jose while studying and working. Minh Nguyen.
So, what do you think?
Powerful, amazing. You can write a story. You can put together a story. That was amazing.
It was beautiful, very moving.
Oh, Chama, you're on mute.
We wanted to highlight these stories because they are of normal people, of everyday people that are affected by war. They didn't fight in the war. They didn't want to get in the war. They don't understand what's happening. And that's what matters, right? It's millions of lives affected in this way. And I love the exhibit. And, I want to describe a little bit of the process, right? So it's multi-layered process. We first gave our elders maps of Vietnam, and they get to pick and choose. So we have North, South, Central, and of course, we did not anticipate. And this is part of the beautiful thing about art and how it has unintended consequences that initially we felt maybe would be harmful, but then at the end it was healing. So for some people who did not come from North Vietnam, which is considered the Mecca of communism, right? As soon as I saw the map of North Vietnam, though they are old maps, which was something we thought would be appealing. So they're like maps from long historical maps, right? the elders became very upset where they were like throwing these maps, and they're like, we don't want that, we're not from there, this is communism, that these very visceral reactions to the maps. And thankfully we had like a printer on site and everything. We printed all new maps of South Vietnam. And then the few who are from North Vietnam, because that was their homeland, they just quietly took the map of North Vietnam and painted on them. It's not, to them, it wasn't anything, but they knew better than to argue. They just let their friends express whatever they needed to express. Then we had an acetate, a clear acetate, and we had the elders write whatever story they wanted. We gave them prompts like, oh, what was your happiest memory? What were you doing? It was those type of prompts. Never did we say, share us about your journey or all the painful thing you're going through. It was never about that. It was all about happiness, and then we gave them flowers from Vietnam, images of flowers and birds from Vietnam to represent journey and where they come from. And then so we had them paint on the clear sheet birds, and then paint on the clear sheet flowers. And then we let them decide how they wanted to layer all the different things. And if you saw from the painting, some didn't even put the writing in, some did not put the birds in, some, it was all their decision. But the commonality was they all wrote about their journey. They all wrote about home, coming here, finding a new home here. And at the end, all of them said they're happy to be in America, to have a peaceful life, but there's always a yearning and pain that is always there. And no matter what they're doing, they might be, retired, happy with their kids, or they're working as engineers, or working, in a restaurant. It's strange. It's interesting to us how the forefront is still that pain they carry from having to leave, from the way they had to leave, from being imprisoned, from being, all these different experiences. And that we did not anticipate. And at the end, so we were like freaked out. Our team was like, oh my gosh, they're upset. At the end, everyone stayed, they shared, and they were so happy. When we had our exhibit, they all came. So, it was just amazing to see this healing happen right before our eyes. And we were never intending on healing. We were like, let's make some art, So that's how wonderful art can be. Yeah. Do you have any other, comment, feedback, or questions for me? I know.
Yeah, that's very neat.
Yeah.
I like that, and I like that because people are putting their story down on paper and recording it, because a lot of people just take this with them. So that's very nice. And also, a lot of people, I think Americans tend to not realize that immigrants, when they come here, they miss their homes. They probably want to go back. They just think as the perspective that, oh, it's so great, come to America, but they don't realize that it's not an easy thing for immigrants to come in some ways, because they miss their homes. There's different reasons why they had to come. So that's pretty neat. And it's nice hearing these stories under the perspective. In my case, I only heard the stories that I've heard, like from my cousins. I have 3 cousins that were in the Vietnam War, and I like hearing the perspective from the Vietnamese themselves. I like hearing their stories. So that's nice.
Thank you, Marcos.
Yeah, and sometimes people here who are born and raised here, they don't understand what it is like to be that first generation that has to leave everything and make that move, that big decision. Imagine if you had to leave the land you were born in and all that you knew, and live in a camp, right? Completely displaced, and not know where you were going from there. Leave behind everything. It's just
Not know the
really hard.
language.
Not know the language. Just really difficult. I mean, I still remember the stories my grandmother shared when they were displaced from Myanmar, because they lost everything and they could never really recover. My great grandparents could never really recover from that loss. So
I
it's
think it's
just
important.
difficult.
Yeah, I think it's important for people to, if they can, to write down their stories, so that we can have them, so they can be remembered in history and not forgotten.
Yeah, and also what that does is when you're using art for this, you're actually releasing that part of you that's holding on to that story.
Mhm.
And in that sharing, you release and you create space for fresh and new to come in, which is so important to help us in moving forward because we can't stay stuck in one place, right?
Yes.
Especially if it's a place of sadness and grief and despair, right? So,
Also, I find it so amazing to have all that yet still be able to hold a job and many times multiple jobs and raise a family, but that's why they don't talk about the pain, because then it's too much in the forefront. They just
yeah.
go, right? You just move forward, move forward. And so the kids sometimes, we talk about how they don't tell us anything. We don't know anything. And it's now we have to record this history because our elders are getting older and no one is recording the history. I know thankfully some schools around the country, they're doing that, universities. But when you think about it, like in Vietnam, they write their own stories. And then in America, we write American history, but the history of this specific group of people who came here in 1975 will be lost forever. No one's recording it if we
Yeah.
and other folks are not doing it. Yeah.
Trami, why is this personally, why was it important for you to personally be involved with bringing out these stories? What was it that touched you? I saw you visibly becoming emotional. If you don't mind sharing, where does this come from in your heart?
For me, thankfully, my family did not experience the type of trauma that other Vietnamese folks have, right? We were able to leave. We didn't lose family members. Yes, we lost financial things, items, but personally, we did not lose anyone, and we didn't have anyone who was in the war or anything like that, right? So I was pretty removed, and I didn't understand the Vietnamese community. When I go to these Vietnamese events for April 30th, everyone's like wearing the flag and the black and all this stuff. I didn't understand it until I worked with the elders. Until I worked with them, I understood. I didn't understand before. Like, why are you always talking about the war? Why can't we move on? It's been 46 years. But I know now why, because you can't move on if you've never dealt with it. They've never gotten, any type of psychological whatever, never had a place to express it. Never, it's like all of us, we have little pains, right? And if it's not expressed, if it's not healed, how can we heal? So it is always going to be in the forefront. And why do we use terms like day of hatred, day of, of regret, versus it's a day, let's remember it, right? But I was judgmental, right, to begin with, where I didn't understand it. I'm like, let's move on. We don't get your pain. I'm sorry. Let's move on. But you can't move on. And so going through that process, working with the elders for weeks on end and learning to love them for all of their quirks and craziness and wonderfulness is when I understood. And they gave so much to us, So.
Thank you.
Very nice. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think there's a very important point there, which is that you can't move on if the pain hasn't been addressed. So the pain has to be addressed. Somebody has to be the listener. Somebody has to be there to hold space for you as you are sharing it without judgment and without telling you that you could have done this or that, right? So you need others who are willing to hold that space for you. And in that space, that safe space, you can release that pain. And that's how you are able to then move forward. And even then, things will keep coming back, in bits and pieces, small reminders here or there of the pain that you had carried. But then you know that it's basically the remainders or the memory of the pain and not really the memory of the event. So you can slowly let go that way. But it's very important to let go of that pain. And it's very important for those who can to hold space for that pain
I think
so it can be released.
it's a very hard thing not only for the elders that have been through it, but I think I might have shared that, my family was left Uganda in 1972 because of a political dictator named Idi Amin. And there's a whole generation of people who went all over the world who were literally lost their home because, and, they were separated, people were killed. It has taken a lifetime for those people to build homes in their new places. And though on the outside, like Trami said, they're engineers, they're doctors or whatever, they're have, auto mechanic shops, whatever it is that they're doing, that feeling of being ousted, of that has stayed with all of them. And it has impacted not only that generation, but the children of that generation. I am a child of that generation. I was separated from my parents for 2 years. I think that these things are generational. They impact those elders, they impact the children, and to some level, the children of our children. So these are things that have to be acknowledged, really acknowledged.
We call it intergenerational trauma.
Mhm.
It's been studied, it's been researched on, people are talking more and more about it. If it is not released, if we don't release this trauma, it becomes part of our DNA.
Mhm.
And then we end up, getting diseases. So
Tammy,
Well, let's have Uncle Chin maybe share with us his thoughts
yeah,
for today. And I know he wrote a lot of poems, so nếu
yeah.
nếu mà chú muốn đọc thơ của chú, xin mời chú.
Không, chú muốn thứ nhất chú muốn chú nói bằng tiếng Việt với cháu trước.
I'll translate after he speaks.
Dạ. Chú rất cảm động khi mà thấy cháu nhắc tới cái buồn của Tổ quốc mình.
I feel very emotional to hear you mention the source of our country, our homeland.
Và chú cũng vui rằng là thấy cái giới trẻ của cháu hiểu được cái đau buồn của cái lớp già như của chú trong thời chiến tranh.
I'm also happy to know that you, the younger generation, understand the source of pain from the older generation during wartime.
Trong cái thời hòa tài chú đã thấy khi mà chú còn nhỏ, cỡ 8 tuổi, chú đã thấy Việt Cộng giết người ta, chém đầu người ta ra sao.
When I was a little boy at 8 years old, I witnessed the Viet Cong or the communist soldiers kill people and cut off their heads.
Do đó nên cái miền Nam bị mất, đó là một cái đau buồn. Mà chú thấy cái giới trẻ khi sang đây hiểu được một phần nào cái đau khổ của cái generation trước thì chú vui lắm. Đó là cái hạnh phúc đối với giới già như chú và nhìn thấy các cháu biết nhìn về quê hương của mình.
I'm very touched and happy that to see the younger generation recognizing and wanting to look back to the source of our country and to see the pain that you're able to express and understand. It's very emotional for me.
Đây là cái đời lính của chú mà cái thời kỳ mà chú trong quân đội, chú làm cái nghề này.
This is his hat when he was in the military, in the Air Force, right? He made it to remind himself. Yeah.
Và đây cả là một cái dĩ vãng mà chú viết lại.
And this is a book that I wrote about the past, and it's called Thorn in the Heart.
Chú mong rằng thì cái giới trẻ sau này sẽ làm lại một cái quê hương mình tươi đẹp hơn.
I hope that the younger generation can remake the country, turn it into something much more beautiful than it is now.
Cảm ơn cháu và cảm ơn tuổi trẻ của mấy cháu rất nhiều. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you to all the younger generation. Thank you, Joe. I'm so happy and honored that you're here and that we're able to have this conversation between an older person and the younger generation who I was very honest when I expressed I didn't understand. And I am also very honest to express that when I finally understood. So I hope this will heal all of us.
Yeah.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here. How about a little poem, Uncle Tu? Something hopeful and, you know, that will brighten up our day.
Yes. chú
Yeah.
đọc poem hay là chú ngâm thơ được không?
Thì ngâm thơ bằng tiếng Việt thì chú vẫn làm được, nhưng mà
Chú ngâm
bằng
đi.
tiếng Anh thì chú chịu thua.
Dạ, chú ngâm tiếng Việt đi rồi cháu sẽ dịch.
Ok. Thì khi mà chú nhìn thấy cái nến mà cô gì đó Shima đó, Mimista đó, chú viết một câu thơ thế này: nhìn ngọn nến đêm khuya sáng tỏ, cho đời hy vọng giữa bão giông. Ta thiết lên đời ta tóc trắng, ước mong nào cho dân tộc tồn vong.
Wow. Okay, I'll translate. He said he was looking at Smita's candle when he wrote this poem. So in your image there, it says, looking at the candle bright in the night, for a life of hope in the midst of the thunderstorm. I scream as my life is now full of gray hair. I so wish that our nation can survive the way it was intended. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
Oh my goodness.
Thank you.
Okay,
we had a chakra cleaning, and now we are really literally cleaning our
dear duck tears.
yeah, because tears are how we cleanse our system.
Can we take a deep breath?
Yes.
Yeah.
I almost cry when I think about my country.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, almost like that. When I'm talking about the war, I involved in that, and my friend died because of the war. I almost might tear it down. Okay, thank you for that.
Thank you so much, Uncle, for
Thank you,
being
Uncle.
here today.
So it really allowed me to understand things in a different way. I really learned so much today. This was a very powerful show, very powerful episode. So a lot of work went into this.
Thanks, Mina. Because sometimes you do stuff and you're like, does anyone care? You
Oh
know?
yeah, it's a very important story to tell. And the way you brought it together was so compelling. I cannot wait to go to this non-virtual thing. It's going to happen.
Mina is implying, because Medi-Veggie, we've been at this since last August, nonstop every week, and at the end of May, so we still have some time. We're going to take a little summer break, and during that time we're going to play reruns, if you will, just like those shows, play reruns, and then we'll come back, and depending on what's going on at that time, we may come back in person as well. We'll still continue to stream so that everyone can still watch and follow us. So I think, Esther, if you could help take us out of today, that would be amazing. Thank you.
Thank you, Uncle Chin. Thank you, Trami,
Thank you.
Smita, Mina, Marcos, Maria. Yeah. Thank you for all being here and holding space. The strength that just exists in this Zoom room, if you will, is absolutely astounding. And all of your journeys are incredible. And I'm so grateful that this podcast exists to start to share some of these stories. So thank you so much to those of you who joined us today on Medi-Veggie. We are here every week, every Wednesday at 12:15. And we'll always present to you a vegetarian recipe, a meditation, and very rich dialogue. So join us next week, next Wednesday.
I have one announcement. I think you should talk about creativity.
Yeah. So tomorrow evening is our creativity open mic night. So if you haven't heard, Chopsticks Alley has launched the very first Chopsticks Alley open mic specifically for Asian artists of all genres. So our sign up list actually fills up very quickly. However, we are always booking more artists for the months following. So you can reach out to us for the sign up link for the month of May. And otherwise, please tune in this Thursday evening at 7 p.m. to support our local Asian artists.